Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Jeannie. In today's video I am going to be doing a review and sharing my experience of Liz's hip course. She is on Instagram as the Workout Witch. And this first part of the video, I'm going to tell you all the things I love about this course, and then towards the other half of this, I'm going to share more about my background. In case you're just interested in the course stuff, I'm going to give you that right away because I tend to talk a little bit. But let's get started. I don't really remember how I came across Liz. I want to say it was maybe a reel. I was scrolling through Instagram, maybe one of her reels came up, and I started following her, and I was really blown away by the amount of testimonials she had. And I was like, wait, whoa, I think I want to know more. Like, why are so many people having like so much to say about this course? And I started following her for a while. She's got a lot of free content, so if you're a little bit hesitant about investing in one of her courses, which are super affordable, so like I would say, like, don't wait, like just go for it. You're not gonna regret it. You're gonna be feeling so good. But anyways, the testimonials, they got me thinking. I'm like, I think I want to try this out for myself, because like so many people having like all these different things to say about her work. Like, I want to know more. People sharing about how like their pain diminished, they were losing weight. Those two things were very big for me, as I'm going to share later on. I decided to go for the bundle, which is hips, shoulders, and jaw. I was more interested in the shoulder stuff because that's where I felt more tension, but I love how she structures it, because you're starting from the hip, which is like the root sacral chakras, and you work your way up, which I think is fantastic because it kind of addresses your entire nervous system. And there are other somatic practices that I feel maybe that's why they're not as effective, because they're not necessarily starting at the root, at the base. So personally, I started experiencing release around day 13 to 15, and for me, release looked more like yawning. There was like a day where I was a little bit more emotional, and it took me a while to connect it to like something that wanted to be released, and I want to say that was a little bit before around day 13, but I'm going to talk about that more in a little while. So, okay, Liz's work, it's simple. It's really, really simple. Like, I have found myself thinking, I'm like, this is it. Like, this is all I have to do, and this is going to release the trauma. Like, trauma that I've been working for 5 years to release. It's that simple. But, like, don't knock it. Like, and in a way, I'm like, okay, Jeannie, like, you love simple. You have seen how it's the simple, very intentional stuff that's really, really powerful. Healing does not have to be complicated. It can be very easy, and it can happen very quickly. And when I say quickly, like, I don't mean rushed or pressured. One of the things that Liz mentions a lot was like how you can start experiencing relief in 30 days. 30 days, like, in our mind it might seem like a lot of time, but if we take into account like how long we've lived and how much trauma we've experienced throughout decades, for many of us, 30 days is not a very long time, and the time's gonna go by anyways. And I have tried a lot of things, and I haven't found anything that's been as powerful, as simple, as affordable, as effective and quick as Liz's program. I really haven't. I'm going to talk about that more later, but okay, it's simple. It works. It's powerful. It's potent. It's affordable. The hip course, if you just want to say like, I don't know about like the bundle right now, I think the bundle is priced at $89. The hip program I think is around $47, but if you're not sure, if you don't want to invest the $89, start with the hip. Start with the hip course. And then if you decide to change your mind later on, she does give you a credit, and then you just pay the difference if you do want to upgrade to the bundle. But it's really, really affordable. I do have an affiliate code for you. If you would like to try it out for yourself, you get 10% off of your order, and you can use my name, Ginie Salcedo, all caps, and you get 10% off your order. I'm going to drop that information down below, and I also have a link. If you just want to click on the link and shop and then check out, you get 10% off. So let's see what else I wanted to say about her program. Another thing I really love about it is how easy it is. In the course, she'll show you modifications in case you don't have much flexibility or mobility, which is very, very normal and common. When you have a lot of stored trauma in your body, that can really, really affect how easily you can move, how bendy you are. And I love how gentle she is about it. Like there were a couple so far. There's been like one that I come like, ooh, that was a little bit hard. And then she'll say, you know what, if you like, once that one is over, she's like, if you had a little bit of trouble with it, don't worry about it. That one was a little bit more advanced. She encourages you to do the movements as lazy as possible, which I love. You really don't exert a lot of energy, like a lot of physical energy. The movements are very, very gentle. She encourages you to do them in bed. Personally, I like doing them on the floor. I pull out my yoga mat and I do them on the floor because I like feeling a very firm surface beneath me. I want to say it's because I am working on feeling supported, and for me, I want to help my brain connect that support with something that's a little bit firmer, a little bit stronger, like a more masculine side of things, where the bed to me feels a little bit more feminine. It's softer. And of course, like, tune into your body. For me personally, when I get on the floor, like, I do feel the tender spots on my back, hips, and things like that, but it's not to the point where it's excruciating pain. If it's excruciating pain, obviously don't stick to the bed. Like, it's still going to be very, very effective. Another thing that I really, really love about her course is that she says, even if you do these movements in your head, that's going to work. It's going to be effective because you're creating new neural pathways in your brain. So personally, I'm pretty sure I only skipped one day because I was really tired and I was already in bed, and I'm like, oh wait, she said I could do them in bed, so I did a few in bed. And so technically, like, I didn't skip a day, I just kind of like did them differently from what I normally do. There are a few rituals in the course. I tend to have a little resistance to rituals, but I'm like, okay, I'm not going to skip over them. Or not, no, I didn't do them on the exact day, but I kind of like took more time with them. I kept doing the hip practices, and I kind of sat with like, what is it that I want to release? What is it that I want to envision? And then I did do those rituals eventually. So if you do decide to go for the program and you're deciding, or once you're going through it, you're finding that you're being a little resistant to the rituals, like, keep doing the movement practices, and then just, find a quiet spot and just, find time to do the rituals, because there can be something very, very powerful about and they're very simple. Like, they're very simple. For me personally, I just found that I was resistant to them because I want to say, like, I'm still feeling quite overwhelmed with everything that I have to do, and it's kind of like I haven't given myself permission to dream bigger. And even in the one of the practices, she'll say, like, dream big, like, even if it seems unrealistic, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of like the way I work through that is like, okay, let me tap into my childlike essence and let's just dream big and see what happens. Approaching the ritual with curiosity and openness, and just seeing the resistance as something to move through. And that's all. Like, it's okay if there's resistance, and we get to move through it. So that is my personal experience. You might not have resistance to the rituals. There are some people who maybe pause, or they're not consistent with doing the movements every day. If you miss like 1 or 2 days, I believe she says it's okay. If you miss more than 3 or 4, she suggests you start over from day one. Personally, I was coming from a place of like, I've done a lot. I've invested a lot. I've invested thousands of dollars, and I haven't really gotten results. So I was kind of at the point where I'm like, I'm fed up. Like, I want my body back. I want to release this weight. I know it's got a huge emotional component. I know it's related to trauma, because my eating habits hadn't really changed. A little bit of my background, just so you guys can get an idea of like my trauma. Okay, let's start from here. From a human design perspective, I'm a projector. I didn't know I was a projector until like maybe 3 years ago, I want to say, 3-4 years ago. So for most of my childhood, what I didn't realize was happening is that I was very, very sensitive to my environment and to the people around me. I was taking in a lot of information, a lot of energy that wasn't mine. And because I didn't know how to explain, how to use my words to explain what it was that I was feeling, I was so overwhelmed. And it kind of like the word that comes to mind as a child is fear. Not a lot of joy. I wasn't a normal child. I liked spending a lot of time alone because it just felt better. There wasn't a lot of energy around me when, I was alone. It felt comfortable. It felt familiar. So again, not having the language, because I didn't understand what was going on. I guess in my mind, I just assumed everybody felt that way, and there was like, again, it was mainly like not having the language, not being able to explain to my mom, this is what I'm feeling. I just knew that I either felt good or didn't feel good around certain people or certain environments, but I always attributed it to myself. I never thought that it was the other people around me impacting how I felt. So, from a human design perspective, that kind of explains like why my childhood felt like it was so hard. Felt very overwhelmed, and then the way my nervous system reacted was to shut down. I tend to go more into like numbing, shutting down, and yeah, that was my childhood. So 2018, my mom passed away, and she was my person. She was kind of like the one that helped me navigate the outside world. I've always struggled with social interactions, people. I've had to learn how to change my perception of people, and learning to feel safe around people, and that I'm going to be okay if I'm around people. Again, learning to manage the energy around me has really helped. So 2018, she passed away, and this is really where my health took a hit. I want to say prior to mom passing away, I experienced a lot of chronic fatigue, a lot of anxiety, panic attacks, adrenal issues, low blood sugar issues, low blood pressure issues. Energy, a lot impacted my very, very low energy levels. After she passed away, it was more muscle tension, aches and pains, a lot of respiratory issues. Grief and sadness tend to get stored in the lung, heart space area. A lot of depression, a lot of sadness, and once again, I didn't have the tools to know how to process the grief. I didn't know how to let people in to help me process the grief because people didn't feel safe. So it was, since 2018 up till recently, it's been a very lonely experience because, again, not feeling safe around people. I couldn't, and I didn't want to let them in to help me. And I'm also very, very particular about how I want to be helped. A lot of control issues that I'm learning to work through. But, okay, so mom passed away in 2018. About from 6 months after she passed away to a year, I was starting to feel a little bit better. I was starting to navigate the grief better. And a week before her 1 year anniversary, a very close friend passed away through suicide. And this completely rocked my world. It was a shock. It was a huge heartbreak because this person was just such like a joy, and I could not understand like how we all missed the signs, you know. So just as I was feeling like I was starting to get my flow back in life, even if it was a tiny flow, you know, I had this loss that rocked my world again. At this point, I had more tools. I was able to process the grief a little bit better. It was still a shock. It was still trauma. And last year, my dad passed away. And it was very sudden. Didn't see it coming. It was in January. And I thought, what a way to start the year. Dad for me was a huge financial support. So when he passed away, there were a lot of unknowns. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of guilt. And you know, I was left with this, like, a lot of feelings of, like, what am I going to do to support myself? Like, I can't work a 9 to 5. Like, I've never been able to work a 9 to 5 job. So, definitely, like, a lot of stored stuff in my body, which for me, it manifested as, like I've said, aches and pains, a lot of weight gain after mom passed away. I did gain a lot of weight. And intuitively, I felt like there had to be more to the weight. Like, there had to be a different reason, because it wasn't necessarily that I was eating more. Many times I wasn't even eating, and I was still gaining the weight. With movement, I want to say about, again, a few months after she passed away, maybe around 6 months, maybe a little bit more, I started to feel like I needed to work out a little bit more, because I didn't feel strong physically. So I started with walking, and I literally could not walk a block without feeling like I was gonna die. And at that point, again, not knowing a lot about how the body and trauma, I was really, really hard on myself. Thoughts like, Ginie, what is wrong with you? Like, people walk all the time. Like, why can't you walk a block? Like, what is wrong with you? You're so weak. All these thoughts that weren't really helping me, being super, super hard on myself, instead of seeing your body's been through a lot. Taking care of someone that needs around the clock care is not easy. It's not easy physically, it's not easy mentally, and it's definitely not easy emotionally. It takes a lot out of you, and it takes a lot out of your body. And I felt like what my body really needed was for me to come to a complete stop in order to allow my nervous system to reset. So for me, again, I felt like the weight, there was more to it. So when I saw that people were like losing weight without even trying with Liz's program, I'm like, I definitely have to try this out. Because I've tried a lot. I had tried a lot. I signed up for this $2,000, I think it was more than $2,000 weight loss program, And it did help, like, a lot of shed a lot of like mental layers. I was able to see where a lot of the trauma is coming from. And that weight loss course in particular did have like embodiment practices, but those embodiment practices for the level I was coming at were really, really hard. One, like, I'm like, I can't move that way, like I can't bend that way. I'm about 100 to 130-ish pounds above what my ideal weight is, which for my frame and my body, like, that's a lot. It's a lot. So a lot of those embodiment practices in the weight loss course were really hard for me to do. And I didn't really have the motivation to do them because I'm like, I can't do them. Like, I physically can't. Some of the practices were really long and they required a lot of physical output, which I could not, for the life of me, get my body to do that much physically. What I love about Liz's program is that the movements are very gentle. You're basically horizontal most of the time. For projectors, if you're a projector, you might know this, you might not, I don't know. There's something about us being able to lay down and be horizontal that really, really feels soothing. And it's just really, really good for our energy. So for me, I find that the movements, like being able to do them laying down, is really, really effective. I tend to, I don't remember if I mentioned this before or not, but like I tend to do the movements on a yoga mat on the floor because I like feeling the strong, stable surface beneath me. It helps me kind of like tune into like where the tenderness is. If you are more sensitive and you're experiencing like pain, like, tune into your body and then obviously do them on the bed. Liz actually encourages you to do them in bed. Personally, I prefer to do them on the floor, and that's just me. If I find that it's better for me to do them on the bed, I will switch over to the bed. It's just right now the floor has been working much better for me. I enjoy it. And there are times where like the workouts are only like 4 minutes or 2 minutes or 6 minutes, and I find that I want a little bit more, and then I'll just go back and mentally do the movements that feel better from what I've learned, and until my body feels like, yeah, that's good. So even if you are following the program, again, I do try to be mindful and not do way more just to give my body, that gentle, following the program to the best that I can, but also kind of like feeling into it a little bit. Do I want a little bit more, and not overdoing it? If you want to play it on the safe side, like, just follow what she says and it'll be fine. But for me personally, sometimes I do want to do, or there's one movement in particular that feels really good, and I'll do just like a couple of those until I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then I've been sleeping so much better. Like, I like doing my routine at night because I feel like if anything does need to be released, I have, the time and the space to be able to release it. Like, whereas opposed, like, if you work and you do them in the morning and you find yourself emotional and you have to be out and working with people and talking to people, it could be a little bit difficult. So personally, I like doing my routine at night because, again, if anything needs to be released, I can go to bed, cry it out, or just let my body process that as I sleep. And also, like, after I do the movement practices at night, I'm just like, I want to go to sleep because, like, I can barely keep my eyes open. And I've been sleeping so, so good. The tenderness, I'm about on day, I want to say 22, 23 right now. And the tenderness I felt in my hip area has definitely diminished. I didn't think I would have as much stuff in the hip area, but I have been releasing a lot, mainly through yawning. But I'm really excited to get to like the shoulder area because I feel like that's where a lot of my stuff is located, because that's where I really feel it. But yeah, on about day 15, I also started to feel like my jeans were fitting a little bit better. I feel like my hips are slightly, like a teeny bit smaller. It's like very, very subtle, but I'm very, very hopeful that this is going to help release the trauma so that the weight can be released. Because, like I said, after investing thousands of dollars in programs, the embodiment practice were just way too advanced for me. And I love how Liz gives you modifications, and it's just like you start feeling so good. You really do start feeling good. I recently started to like integrate myself more into social interactions, and I'm finding that I feel calmer. I feel calmer, and also like if I start to notice something shifting within my body, if I'm feeling tense or anything like that, I will close my eyes a little bit, or just, look down and start practicing mentally some of the practices that I've learned with Liz, and that'll help soothe my nervous system and again get me back to a place where I'm not freaking out. I'm not kind of like, get me out of here. Other times, like, I'll stand and I'll just kind of like move, sway from side to side, and kind of like focus inward on my hip area and envisioning my hips opening up and kind of like tapping into that root chakra, creating safety within me so that I can feel safe in my environment and with the people that I'm around. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm probably going to do a part 2 to this as I continue with the program, but I just wanted to share this in case you guys wanted a little bit more information of like what it's like, what the experience is like. I'm going to cut this off now because I've been talking for 30 minutes. But as I mentioned before, if you want to try it for yourself, I do have an affiliate code. There are very, very few things that I'm like, I want to be an affiliate for that. And this is one of the things where I am literally telling everyone I can about it, because it's just like you really feel so good, and it's so simple, and it's so affordable, and like more people got to know about Liz because her work is really, really amazing. I'm so thankful to her, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be an affiliate. So yeah, again, all that information is down below. If you do decide to sign up using my code, thank you. And if you'd like to share your experience in the comment section, and also with Liz, I know she loves the testimonials, and they really do help other people at least get curious about what is this about, and to sign up and to experience what it's like to feel safe in your body and to be able to enjoy life and function like we're supposed to. So that's all I wanted to say for now. Thank you so much for watching if you watched to the end. Stay tuned if I do a part 2, if you want to subscribe, and if you want to get notified when new videos come out. And yeah, that's it for now. Thank you so much. If you'd like more information on my journey, or if you'd like to follow along, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Ginie Salcedo, and on my website you can also find more information. I do have a section on affiliates. Right now Liz is the only one on there because, like I said, I'm very particular about who I give testimonials for, but there you can also find some of the stuff we've already covered in this video, but kind of like more in a nutshell on my website if you're interested in that. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.